Good morning. Hope you all are having a great day. This video is going to be about the Key West 100-mile ultra marathon race. Alright, so this race of course takes place down in South Florida on the Keys. It was a really fun race that I did, and this is how it went for me. I hope I can give you some helpful hints and tips, information at least, to be more prepared for this very hot, challenging race. Great experience, and I highly recommend that you do the race if you get the opportunity and chance, but you must be ready and prepared for it, of course. And so this is how it went for me. I grew up in South Florida, actually. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. I lived in Coral Springs for many years, and so I was familiar with Florida and the heat and humidity that Florida has to offer. So I knew what I was signing up for, and I think it's a wonderful race if you are prepared and heat adapted for it, just to be ready. So, because it gets really, really hot. This race, when I did it, took place in May, and we lucked out with the weather. It did get really hot, but we did not get any rain. I was kind of hoping for some rain. I thought it would cool things down a bit, but it didn't rain for us that year. So I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now. Before the race, I drove down there and stayed at a hotel to get ready for the race, just to rest up and get ready. I actually had a crew for this race. My in-laws, my father and mother-in-law, ended up flying out to do this race with me, which really was a lot of fun and a nice thing to do. I've done so many races solo, so it's really fun and a great experience to have a crew with you, so you can kind of share the excitement and the whole experience with. So I enjoyed that. They flew down, the night or the day before the race, and we ended up getting a hotel room kind of close to the race start. Actually, my mother-in-law booked the hotel, and she was real smart about it. She got a hotel room right in the halfway point of the race, around mile 50, so that I can go in there, take a rest, or use it as an aid station if I needed it, which I did. So that's one nice thing about this race, is you have a ton of lodging, accommodations, and options. There's so many hotels in the Keys and in South Florida that you've got tons of options of where to stay before, after the race, whatever you need. So I would say this race was really easy and accommodating to have a crew, or if you want to bring your family and have a little vacation after the race. This would be the race to do it, because you've got so many beaches and attractions and stuff to see and stuff to do down in South Florida, and so many places to stay. So great place to bring a family. So like I said, I drove down because I wanted to have my car there, and I drove down there, and then my in-laws ended up meeting me down there the day before the race. We went to the race packet pickup and mandatory meeting the day before the race start. You can't miss that, and they do mark that you do show up and go, so be sure you go. Plus they had the race director had a doctor come and speak to all the runners. He had some good information to share about hydration and such. I enjoyed that, and so don't miss the pre-race meeting. And so then after the meeting, I ended up going back to the hotel room to get some good rest before the race, and I did. It was nice to go to bed early and be ready for this race. So the morning of the race started at 6 a.m. I love early morning starts. I seem to do better with those races. I'm a morning person anyway, so that works out best for me. But we did start in waves, which was nice because it's a lot of people that are starting, and it's nice to not be all bunched up together. I was in the third wave, so I officially started at 6:30 a.m. And there was a lot of runners there that I knew, so it was really fun to see and chat with everybody before the race started. And okay, so this race, it is flat. You're in Florida. There's not much elevation gain whatsoever, and it's straight. You're running from the top of Key West to the very, very end, mile 0. It's pretty cool. And you're running a lot along the beach and the water in many places. You're also going over some bridges, and so it's impossible to get lost. If that's a concern for you in choosing a race, if you want something flat and an easy course, this is it. This is the easy one as far as going flat and not many turns and curves. You're pretty much going straight. This race did come with some challenges though. First of all, the heat was brutal. Like I said, it didn't rain at all, and it was just beating down sun the whole time when it came up until it went down. So be ready, have at least a hat, a visor. If you can cover your neck, that would be good. Have some sunscreen. I also ran into some major issue with bugs. A lot of the aid stations had some bug spray, thank goodness, because I was eaten alive by bugs the morning. So we started the race at 6 a.m. and then I'm a slow, steady runner, and I was out there for like 28 hours. So the next morning, when the sun came up, the bugs came out like fiercely. So I had to use a lot of bug spray. So maybe throw that into a drop bag, or make sure your crew has it. Bridges, that kind of freaked me out a little bit, because right after the halfway point at mile 50, right after that, you're going to go into the 7-mile bridge. I hit that right at dusk, so it was really pretty to look at the water as I was going and see all that. But you are on a bridge with traffic. It's mandatory that you have a vest and have reflection on the front and the back. I also had blinking lights on the front and the back, but I was still concerned with how many cars were out there and how fast they were going, so close in proximity to us. If you can, have some fluorescent lights. I saw people with some fluorescent vests. I thought that was really smart. If I did this race again, I would be lit up like a Christmas tree, because there's not a lot of room between you and those cars, and that did make me nervous, I'll tell you. But everybody was okay. Nobody had a problem with cars or any accidents, at least the year that I did the race. But be sure, when they say that you need a vest and it's mandatory, and they do check, there's a person right there before you go onto the bridge that's going to make sure that you have enough, a proper vest with reflection in the front and reflection in the back. But don't skimp on the lights. Be sure that you are well visible. If any section on the race, it needs to be for this section for sure. And but it was really cool running across the water. I love, and I'm right near a lake right now, so this is so pretty outside. I'm doing the lake loop at the Whitewater Center currently. This is one of my favorite routes. Back to the race. So one cool thing about this race also is that it is really crew friendly. If you do have a crew and you do have a car, you can use it and bring it. Like I said, I brought my car down there, and you have to have a mark, like they give you a small poster to put on the back of your car and on the side if you want to, but mainly the back, to let everybody know that it's a race vehicle, that you will be doing frequent stops. It's fun to decorate the car. We brought some markers to decorate it and to really have your crew involved. So one fun thing I did see was a lot of cars for their different runners would have different slogans on it, and it was neat to see all the creative things that people came up with. So if you are going to crew for your runner, or if you're a runner and you have a crew with you, come up with something really cool and unique to put on your car. That was really fun. Or decorate the car a little bit, put some effort into being unique and fun. You can really express yourself in this race, which was so much fun, especially if you have a crew and you have more people involved. I really got a lot out of that with this race, having a crew. As much as I love doing races solo, and most of the time I prefer it, it is nice to have the experience of having a crew with you. Having a vehicle and having a crew, there's lots of places where they can stop and meet you along the route. It is, like I said, a straight shot. So we went, what worked for us was we started going we met in 20 miles, and then we started meeting every 10 miles or so, and to the end of the race. And that worked out pretty well for us. You do have aid stations, of course, and so you can do this race solo without a problem, but lots of places on the side of the road where you have plenty of places to park and sit and wait. If your crew does park near an aid station, especially especially overnight, they ask that you be polite and careful to be quiet. A lot of crew and runners are trying to get a rest and trying to rest. So you don't want to disturb anybody, so just try to be quiet. Let's see. Okay, some issues that I had with this race physically. My feet ended up they got so overheated and hot in this one section. There's this one section of the race called Hell's Kitchen, and it's like an oven. It's before the 50-mile mark, so around 40, between mile 40 and 50, around that area. I would say that was the hottest part of the race for me, the Hell's Kitchen section, and it's like you've got some trees, and it's like they trap in the humidity there. So just be very cautious and ready for that. We would put ice. We had my mother-in-law and I were wearing sparkle skirts, and they have side pockets on the skirt. We were stuffing our skirts and our bra tops with ice, and that helped a lot to keep us cool. But have ice available, have a lot of ice, a lot of coolers with ice for this race. You're gonna go through a ton of ice, but be sure you have that and ready with your crew so they don't have to keep stopping and getting you more. Just bring an extra cooler with a little extra ice, and especially through that section. That was the toughest one. It was nice when the sun went down, and I took it easy and conservative during the day when it was so hot, but I really picked up the pace and knocked out the miles at night when it was a little bit cooler. So that was my strategy, and it worked pretty well. But do it however works best for you and however you train, of course. So the heat blisters, I did get overheated, and I ended up getting a rash on both of my feet. It was just quite annoying and hot and itchy, but after the race I was able to soak my feet in the water and then put some aloe vera lotion on it, and that seemed to do the trick, and I was okay. But just be kind of ready for that. If you do have any heat or feet problems or issues, maybe bring some cream to put on it. If you do get some sort of a rash, I wish I had something like that, but I didn't know that I was going to run into that problem. Between my feet having a heat rash, and overheating a little bit, that seemed to be the main problems that I had. I stayed pretty good. I stayed up on calories and hydration. I did take electrolytes, you're going to be sweating so much out there. So be sure that you have electrolyte supplements or salt cap pills. Don't overdo it, of course, and do however you train, but definitely have something ready, because you are going to sweat and you're going to go through a lot of electrolytes, and that causes some pretty bad cramping if you get deficient. I saw one poor guy on the 7-mile bridge, and he was cramping so bad that he could hardly walk. I got to the next aid station and sent help for him, and they got him back in and safe, but he was just cramping so bad in his legs that he could hardly move. I felt terrible for him, and I did send help. So that does happen, especially at this race, since you're going to have such a heat challenge. So just be aware of that. Logistically, this race can be somewhat of a challenge too. If you are doing this race solo, you have to somehow get back to your car. There's a lot of people that do this race, and there's a lot of people that are helpful and would be willing to help runners out. So if you leave your car at the start of the race and you run to the finish, you can get a ride, but you're going to have to figure that out. Or you can take your car to the end of the race, leave it there, and then you can get a ride that morning or the night before to your hotel, or whatever the case is, to be at the race start. But just be aware that it's going to be some logistical planning. There is a Facebook group you can meet. You can connect with some people to make arrangements, or talk to the race director to make sure that you've got a plan of what to do, getting back to your car and getting back to your hotel. So that is something to consider and to think about. The race medal I thought was really cool. It's really unique. I'll put a picture of that to show you what it looks like. But overall, this was a lot of fun. As tough as it was with the heat challenge, it was really a beautiful race. Like I said, I'm from South Florida, so I love that area, and I loved running along the water and by the water so much. This race was very appealing to me, and I thought it was a great experience. So if you do get the chance to do this race, go for it. Be ready, train in the heat, be sure you're heat adapted. Be sure you're ready for some heat-related issues that can come up, like with electrolytes and overheating. Making sure that you can eat while you're hot. I did some training runs and tried different foods out so I was sure that I had something that I could consume and be able to get down while being hot. And what worked best for me was turkey sandwiches. That's my fallback food. But everybody's different in what they like to eat and what they can eat, especially while they're hot or while they're in pain. So, and some people have special diets, of course, or need to have something a little more simple. But just plain turkey and cheese sandwiches work best for me, and that seems to be what I go to most when I do my races. But everyone's different, of course. But my point is to definitely try out some food. Make sure it works, make sure you can handle it or stomach it, and it's easy to get down before you get to the race. And if you can, bring a crew and spend a couple days down in the Keys or South Florida before you have to head home. It's a great family trip and vacation if you're able to have the time to embrace that. It was a lot of fun. So that's pretty much how it went for me. I hope you sign up for this race and have a fantastic time, and enjoy running along the water as much as I did. It was really a great experience. So, all right, well, happy training and take care.